Hey guys, I just want to give you a big thumbs up because we're over the halfway point. And so far, I think you're doing pretty good. Just keep getting stuff in, keep moving forward, keep making progress, keep asking questions, and we'll make it through to the end with lots of good stuff that happens in between. So next week is actually one of my favorite weeks. And I say that every week, right? But it's really true. So this week, we're going to dive a little bit behind the scenes into computer programming. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, I'm not a coder. That's like for geeks. And some of you might be thinking, well, I'm a geek. I already know all about code. Could be anywhere in between, right? Hang with me and try it out. We're going to do a couple of activities that will give you hands-on practice and hands-on experience playing with code. And I use that word playing intentionally because I don't know, when I code or when I learn things, I noticed if you approach it playfully, first of all, it's a lot more fun. But second of all, you tend to learn more because you're not stressed out about it. So approach it playfully, approach it creatively, just try to have some fun with it. So let me tell you a little story about the first time I coded. And I was a senior in high school. It was the first year we had Apple IIe's. So if you don't know what that is, go look it up. Dual disk drives, dual floppy drives. Anyhow, it was super, super cool. And I was in the first programming class my school had. I don't even know why I took it. This has been a long time, so I don't remember why I took it, but I did. Super fun. The coolest part was to make the computer do what I told it to do. The trickiest part was that the computer only did what I told it to do. And what I told it to do wasn't always what I needed to tell it. That's part of learning the syntax and the grammar and everything. But honestly, last week we looked at software, but from the outside. We looked at software, how it runs our phones and our coffee pots and our cars and our Fitbits and our computers clearly, and so many different things that software controls. So it'll be fun to actually put our hands on this. And we're going to do it in two different ways. So one way will look a little bit like this code behind me. And you'll have a project on Khan Academy, an hour of code project that will end up with some interesting results. And then the other way is we're going to program a turtle. We're going to actually do that in Zoom a little bit this week. So you'll get a feel for what that's all about. So it's kind of a how to train your turtle week. Anyhow, let me do a screen share, show you what's up, and see if I can get you on your way. Now, one thing I have noticed is a lot of people where it says start here, they don't start there. They just jump down and do the do. But the problem is if you do the do without knowing the know and thinking the think and learning the learn, the do doesn't always make sense. So this video will be linked up here under the week 4 start here. So clearly you're watching it because you're hearing me talk about it. But that's where you should always start. And it doesn't hurt to pull out the class schedule either and just sort of see what's going on there. Anyhow, part 1, computer programming. I really like these couple of videos for these reasons. Not all of us are going to be computer programmers, so why the heck should we care about this? And this article, 5 Reasons to Learn to Code for Non-Technical People, will tell you why you should learn about this. There are some actually very good reasons to understand how computers think and talk and work. And then Code Stars, I love this one because there's a lot of famous people you'll probably recognize, or at least you'll recognize the websites that they designed on some of them. And they're telling you why they like code. I'll give you a hint, creativity comes into play. A lot of them like it because of the creativity. You wouldn't even think that. It's just like letters and numbers and things, right? But there's a lot of different ways to solve it. Pretty much you're translating human thought into computer language, and that's really cool. So in the learning, the all about algorithms, there's a couple of videos here and about computer careers, software engineers, if you're wondering what they do. But a good friend of mine that's a software engineer at Google, and we're going to actually hear from him in week 6. There'll be a video that you can watch from him about what that's all about. And then you got your hour of code project and of course the quiz. So on the hour of code project, if you go to the details, it will tell you all about what you're supposed to do. My one tip is to read this closely, but then when you get into the project, just follow the directions. Okay, so there's a play part, there's a learn part, and up until recently, my students would post this to Twitter. So there's a link, actually, this link here goes to the Twitter tag that will pull up all the Hour of Code things. We're going to post it to Discord now. Anyhow, so this will be interesting. It's kind of fun to see what people have done in the past. Some are super, super good and very artistic, and some are like stuff I would draw, which is sort of like a stick person with, you know, circle eyeballs. And then you're going to share it. So it talks about that, and it talks about the rubric. So always look at the rubric, because that's the part you get to check off and say, did I do this thing? Then let's come back here. Let's go back to week 4 here. So there's that part. Now, the part we're going to talk about in Zoom this week is algorithmic art. Now, the first 2 think videos were made by my husband, and they're not really think videos, although in terms of, oh, wow, here's some really cool things this can do, that'll make you think. And then if you want to try it, just watch the video and slow down and try the things step by step and see what you can make. Under Learn, there are some introductions to turtle blocks. That's the program we're going to use. And let me just bring it up really quick, just to give you a brief look at it, because it really is kind of an interesting program. So it's clear that you're in the right space. You can sort of do this on a tablet or a phone, but I don't recommend it. Do it on a web browser. It'll be way easier for you to play with. And for some reason, it's taken a minute. Oh, here we go. So it'll give you a little tour the first time you're there. So that's all I'm going to show you, because there's a whole other video about how to do this. Lots of stuff. And then you've got Project, how to train your turtle. So that'll step you through a couple of activities. Now, what I'm going to say about both programming things, normally they're, you know, a distance apart, but now they're in the same week. But on both of them, don't get hung up on making it right. Okay, look for little typos or errors, but basically get into the thinking, get into the algorithmic thinking. How do these things work? Step by step. If the turtle was a person in front of you and you were trying to make it do things, you know, go from point A to point B, what steps would it have to take? Same thing with the Hour of Code activity. Just think through like, what steps does it take? Coming down here, we do have networks and digital security. I don't have any projects on this one, but it is very interesting. You know, you should learn how to hack. That's a pretty provocative title. Something about cybersecurity. A couple of videos on cybersecurity are interesting. And then Crash Course has some really good videos. One is about networks in general, and they're all sort of tied together. And I need to reorder these a little bit because it should be 28, 29, 30. Anyhow, one is about networks in general, one is about the internet, which is a really big network, and then the next one's about the World Wide Web, which is a subset of the larger network. And so you'll understand how those are all tied together. I think they're all just like 10 or 11 or 12 minutes. Crash Course videos kind of chunk them in about that time period, but there are a couple of quizzes for the chapters. And then you have your reliable sources piece down here. Super excited for this week. I think it's going to be just a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you make.